I'm excited because this video is going to share with you the story of a buck I called Whiplash. So the story of Whiplash. This is an Oklahoma deer, and for the past several years, the places I get to hunt, I only get to hunt them for one season. They're places that are purchased by a friend of mine, and then he basically resells them to make a profit. So I can hunt on them during the time when he's trying to sell them. I try to get camera footage of deer and stuff like that to help increase the value of the property. So knowing that going into this, when I get my hands on this property, I've only got one season. If there is a shooter deer on it or not, I got to find the deer and determine if it's a shooter or try to track the deer down. So the advantage I had on this piece of property is my buddy had already run some trail cameras. They had them out there. They hadn't went and pulled the SD cards, but they had them out there through the summer when I was traveling and fishing. And so I go pull the cards for him when I get back. It's going to be my chunk of land to hunt. I think it was a 70-acre piece of property. And I go pull these SD cards, and May is the first picture I get of Whiplash. And he's in full velvet, you know, he's just coming out. He's all clustered up, but he had these really unique eye guards that kind of did this whole number here. So it was really easy to track him. He always had those distinct eye guards. And I get several photos of him through the development stages of velvet. And then all of a sudden, August, and he there comes his frame. You're finally getting to see what he's going to be. And he just blows up, and he is a typical 7x5 with matching split G3s. So he's basically, so he is an 8x6. He's a 14-point buck. He's either 4 or 5 years old, but he's a monster. In my opinion, it's hard to tell in velvet, a lot of mass, but I was already saying the deer was anywhere from 160 to 180-ish. And for me, my largest bow buck in Oklahoma actually is that buck right there. And he's like a 143-inch 9-pointer. That's my biggest bow buck in the state of Oklahoma. And only having one season, even if I think that deer's 4.5, I don't think I'm going to let this deer walk. He could be 5.5, but without any age, without any history, I had no way of knowing. All I know is I was super stoked. You got the picture, and you did this whole double take, like, oh my gosh, hence the name Whiplash, which that name gets even better as the story unfolds. So as quick as I can, I get out there, I think October 7th. All right, I'm in here. The property, really, really difficult to hunt, really difficult. It's all cedars. There was a few little stretches that had some oaks and some stands, where you could hang some stands and get in them, but that's not where these deer were. These deer were out in the wide open with tall, just CRP fallow grass and just a ton of cedar trees. And the cedar trees weren't even that big. And so the only way I could really hunt where I thought that buck would show himself in daylight time was to get into a cedar tree. And I was probably, the platform might have been, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 foot up in the air. And the tree was only that big around, even where I hung at 8, 10 foot in the air. So my ratchet strap, it was even kind of ghetto the way I had the ratchet strap in there. The tree would kind of, I don't know, it wasn't perfect, but I was hidden in there. And the one advantage that I've always loved on about cedar trees is they just cover your scent so well, they cover your movement so well. And so I had confidence it would offset some of the difficulties of being in that cedar stand. So October 7th, I get out there, I hang the stand, and I'm just going to let the video roll. I mean, October 9th was my first sit, and things just start happening right off the bat. So the first sit went really well in that cedar stand. I really liked that I could see everything I could see. The deer came in from a thick draw right where I thought they'd come from. They came in, they proved that that stand was probably going to be my best chance of getting a shot at Whiplash. Good to see a couple of nice racked bucks in there. Obviously, I didn't see Whiplash, kept hoping. But throughout the next few days, the wind was wrong. There was things going on in life, couldn't hunt. But Whiplash is showing up on camera. He's hard-horned, and I'm getting a better look at him. He loses some of that mass you see in velvet. I still think the deer's over 160. Sometimes you don't know until you get your hands on these deer. He's not super, super wide, but he's got long main beams a lot of times. I still think he's 4 or 5 years old. I don't think he's older than that. But man, I'm stoked. I'm pumped. I'm all in on this buck, and I'm hunting that cedar stand every chance I get when the wind is right. But when the wind wasn't right, I had to have another stand set up. So I got in a small section of the property that had a few oak trees, a small little section right off the road where I parked. And I put up a ladder stand just so I could hunt with an off wind. That gave me the right wind I wanted to hunt. He was going through there some, but it was nocturnal. But I thought, hey, if I want to try to shoot this deer, I got to hunt every chance I get when the wind's right and have multiple places. And so I set up this ladder stand and set in it for the first time. All right, so here at my dad's house in Oklahoma, and just got done practicing shooting my bow a little bit. It's the day after my birthday. It's October 16th, and it's starting to happen here in Oklahoma. Every year, there's a pretty good trend, and early season rolls by, the bucks get out of velvet, and then they get locked down on all these oak trees that are dropping the really good acorns. You know, so you've got your chinkapins or your sawtooth oaks. They love those, any of those white oaks and red oaks. But anyway, they get locked down on them, and you don't see your bucks very much. And then all of a sudden, they start to get a little bit silly, and that usually always coincides with the first good cold snap. And we just had that. And my Tacticam trail cameras are lighting up, and I've got one really good shooter. He's an 8x6. He's probably over 170. He'd be my biggest buck ever, especially with the bow. And the place I'm hunting him is loaded with cedar trees. It's just nothing but small cedar trees. And the only place I was able to put a stand in where I think this buck is frequenting, I'm only like 8 foot up in a cedar tree, and the tree moves a little bit, so I gotta be real still. But anyway, my shot more than likely is gonna be 37 yards. So I've been out here practicing shooting 35-yard shot. I've been practicing and practicing, and just to be comfortable making that shot. But anyway, I'm excited about today. I got my 4th arrow. This is what I'm gonna use that my dad bought me last year for Christmas. But this is just a mount that wraps around your tree, and then you can mount your phone to it. So, you know, I'm just a little one-man show out there trying to record you guys my hunts, and I can put my iPhone on that, and you get the best quality I can get out of my iPhone. I don't have the money to buy those nice cameras, but anyhow, I'm just doing this in case I get lucky and shoot this deer. But I think my chances are really, really good. The only thing I'm concerned with in all these little cedars is they bed in these little cedars, and you know, there's a chance that I push that deer walking in, and if I do that, probably buggered it up. But doing the best I can. It's like 9:30, 10 in the morning, and I'm gonna go get my scentless shower, and I'm gonna tighten myself up. I'm gonna have mask, everything scentless. I'm gonna use nose jammer, everything I can to try to be undetected tonight. And I'm probably scrolling through these photos for you guys so you can see this buck. But he's been very frequent the last couple of days, and I think there's a good chance I get him tonight. Okay, we made it in here. We did jump 2 deer. They blew. They sounded small, but we're in here. I got the camera arm up here. Let's see what happens at 2 o'clock. So, we got about a little over 5 hours. Here's our view. It's gonna be up close and personal, if it happens. So at this part of the hunt, I've been in this cedar tree and I'm seeing some does, but I keep hearing the no doubt sound of horns cracking together. It's not a fight, it's sparring, it's buck sparring. It's actually coming from my left, it's coming from the north, and I'm hearing the tickling of antlers off and on for like 30 or 45 minutes. And I just know that these bucks, at least two bucks, potentially one, is going to be Whiplash because of the trail camera footage that I had showing him going that way early that morning. So I'm all excited. I keep looking back over my shoulder, keep looking back over my shoulder. And then I look back over my shoulder, and here comes buck number one. And as buck number one comes out, I recognized him as the buck that was with Whiplash in my morning video that I had. And then buck number two steps out, and there he is. And my heart just starts going because it's him, and he's beautiful. I'm looking at him with binoculars. My head's blocking the video here. You can't see him, but I'm looking at him, and he's all that I'd hoped him to be. He's beautiful. You know, definitely the buck I hoped he was going to be when I saw him with my eyes. He hits this kind of T in the road, so to speak. He can either turn west and head towards Dad sitting in the ground blind, or he can turn back east and come to me in these cedar trees. And I really thought because the does that had worked by me were working west towards Dad, I figured he would just follow those does back to the west. So I lose sight of both of those bucks for just a few minutes, and I turn back and I've got this other little buck out here in front of me, which is that 37-yard shot I've been practicing. And I turn back and I'm just trying to find him, and I'm texting Dad, he could be coming to you. And all of a sudden I catch movement here to my left coming down the cedars in the path. And it's the first buck, and I know Whiplash is right behind me. Eh. Bad shot. I made a bad shot. I went to full draw and I hit him right there at 27 yards. When I looked at my peep sight, the sun was glaring in it, and I couldn't find the deer real good. I probably should have just waited, but my mouth called, so I was gonna run. I think I shot him in the neck. I think I shot him forward. It may have been in the shoulder, but I don't feel like I got a lot of penetration. It definitely hit him. All we can do is hope that we got a main artery. I did hear a weird sound one time, like, could be the sound you want to hear. Oh man, that's the biggest buck of my life with a bow for sure. I just trimmed that limb right here today. That's not a good feeling. That's a sickening feeling when you don't. The buck I came in here for. I had to sit there and listen to him rattle. Clank horns with a nice 8-pointer. They came out. I thought they were going to go to dad, but they turned and walked right in. Alright, I gotta watch the video, see if it's shots on there. Alright, well Dad and I are driving back. Made a bad shot on that biggest buck of my life there. Kind of rushed the shot for sure, but definitely couldn't see very good through my peep sight. Had some weird glare going on. Watched the video back in slow-mo. Definitely nicked the cedar limb. But I hit that deer in front of the shoulder. I'm pretty sure it's in the deer's neck. And I didn't get great penetration, so I don't know if the broadheads expanded before they got to the deer. Or I don't know what I hit in the neck that stopped the arrow if that wasn't the case. 25-yard shot. So, not sure. Got down, just found some drops of blood in that tall grass. Nothing crazy. I didn't hit a main artery. And followed it for 60, 70 yards, marked it with some arrows, backed out, left. Didn't want to push in on it, and Dad agrees we're making the right move, back out. If that deer's dead, we're lucky that the deer's dead. I don't know. We're sitting here talking about all the possibilities, but gonna go back home, not get no sleep tonight. Gonna try to see if I can find somebody to help me look for it tomorrow. Maybe even have a dog would be great, because I think there's blood there. Maybe they can track it. But stay tuned. We'll see if I'm gonna get my largest whitetail ever, and it's with a bow here in Oklahoma, or if I'm gonna have a real heartbreak buzzkill. To be continued. Alright guys, well, I got my good buddy Brian Potter with me, and he brought his dog Macy, little rat terrier. We've been looking for this deer. We trailed it for hundreds of yards. Quite a ways into it, found the arrow. About 12, 14 inches of arrow got into that deer's neck. Didn't break, so I know I didn't get the shoulder. Trailed it. Not even sure it ever even laid down, except for where we found the arrow, maybe. Just not much blood, petered out. And I think I decided I made a non-fatal shot on this deer. Just gonna back out, keep food down around the cameras, and hopefully the deer sticks around, and we'll get some pictures of him to verify he's still alive and well. But the deer went a long way without ever laying down. Kind of signals to me it's not hurting too bad, or not feeling like it's dying anyway. So I'm having trouble breathing. So yeah, that's the update, and I sure appreciate Brian coming out here and working his butt off. His dog's war plumb out, trying to look for this deer. That's a deer of a lifetime. You can't not give it 100% effort to go find it. And I feel really, really bad about the way that went, but that is bow hunting to a T. Barely ever goes as you script it out. And that was the scenario here. Now I'm just in the thickest stuff imaginable. Alright, so I got back to the house. I'm here at my dad's house. Got my camera out. And I only have one camera out there that's not a cell link camera. And I pulled the SD card on the way out. So we tracked them for all day long. Found the arrow. Checked the SD card. If I'd have just done that first, we would have found him. Alive and well. Here he is this morning. This is him this morning. So there it is. You can see the wound, just like I thought, right in the middle of the neck. That cedar tree hit it. There you go. You can see the wound right there on that guy. And so that was 2 in the morning. You can see it's just a beast of a deer. Definitely the biggest deer I'll ever kill if I get another crack at him. And now keep an eye on the clock. Here's 5:23. He comes back. But again, here you go. You can see the wound. It's crazy. And then 6:51, he comes back and actually pushes a doe off the pile, which is crazy. So he's actually acting kind of normal. And here he is coming back in. And he's actually there at first light. 7:01 in the morning is actually light enough to see. So the saga continues. I'm happy that the deer is okay. It's obviously going to survive. I feel awful as an ethical hunter when you see that nick that limb that had to have deflected that arrow. I'm not a horrible shot with a bow. To miss that deer that far right, I knew something happened. So nicking that cedar limb, my excuse for this one, even if I did rush the shot, I was on that deer. If worst case scenario, I was on that shoulder. There's no way I would hit that deer in the neck without a deflection. Either way, I feel bad about it, but I'm happy. I'm stoked the deer is staying around. Hopefully I'll get another crack at this deer. So this series of hunting this biggest archery buck of my life is going to continue, I guess. Maybe I'm going to start just being a video guy in the fall. So for deer, apparently you guys like that stuff. But that's it. I'm sick, but I'm a little bit uplifted by finding this footage when I get home. I wasn't going to go back hunting over there, but now I am, because he's back on camera. So to be continued. All right, so it's October 18th. It's 2 days after I shot the buck I now call Whiplash. And he's showing back up on the same camera where I hit him with an arrow. So he obviously has no idea what's going on. That deflected arrow off that cedar branch. I didn't know what happened, and he didn't know what happened either as to why it went the way it went. But he must like it there. And so I'm heading back out this evening. It's 77 degrees, it's hot, but he's around there. And I don't know how long I'm gonna have these opportunities to get out there when he's still around. So I'm heading back out there to the exact same setup, taking along a saw arm with me so I can clean that shooting lane out just a little bit, but I gotta be real quiet when I do it, because I think that day he was only bedded like 70 yards from me when I got in. So I gotta be real quiet. I got a little wind today to help me, but the wind's gonna change direction a bunch today, so same deal. I'm gonna have to, literally what I do is I grab a cedar tree and I just make out with it. I just rub my body all over it and try to get as cedar smelling as I can and sappy to help cover my scent, and it seems to work pretty good. And then I use some nose jammer and stuff. Anyway, here we go. Let's go out there. Let's try again. Let's try to make a better shot of Whiplash.
Got the wind kind of wrong. It's blowing like this out of the southwest, and it's supposed to switch out of the west and go northwest. So I gotta be really careful with my scent tonight. It's really hot. I really don't know if he's gonna come in tonight before dark, just because it's so hot. I'm sweating. I set up another ground blind for a morning out with the south wind because I got nothing for it. So I got hot doing that, but we're in here. It's almost 3 o'clock. I shot him the other night at 6:30, so let's see what happens.
Alright, well, last night's hunt was actually really good, really fun. Had those 2 bucks come in. One was either a 3 or 4 year old at 8-pointer, and the other one was definitely at least a year younger. So they were either a 2 and a 3 or a 3 and a 4, but not a shooter for me, not there waiting for that one big buck. But I wish the big one would have came in and done that same thing, because that was perfect. I don't know if you noticed, but I trimmed a couple limbs and you could see them broke off on the tops of those cedar trees, which allowed me to have a really good camera shot on that, and it would have been a really good bow shot right there. So wish I had done that 2 nights before, but just hindsight. Anyway, we're heading back out there this morning. It's a nice little cold snap this morning. Where we're headed is going to be 43, feels like 40, but it's going to warm up to 78 degrees again today. So not going to get back there in that cedar stand in the morning, too risky. I got a little stand that's very less intrusive, and I'm going to sneak into there. In fact, I've got a ground blind set up on one side of the creek and a ladder stand on the other. The wind's pretty decent for either one of those sets, but I just put the ground blind in yesterday. I'm not sure if the deer will be used to it or not yet, so I'm still playing that by ear. I may crawl in the ground blind. I don't have a camera arm hung in that stand at all. I only have one camera arm, and that's in the cedar stand, so I couldn't film very good out of the ladder stand, but I do have my tripod, so I may sit in the ground blind so that I can film for you guys. I don't really think it makes a difference which stand I sit in wind-wise, because the wind's good for both. So anyway, the hunt continues for old Whiplash, so let's get after it.
Well, as you can hear that deer blowing, they did not like the new ground blind. She didn't like it at all. So, I sat here all morning, didn't see a deer, and then 10 o'clock a doe comes in. I was about to get out. She's still over there blowing. That's not good. It's always when you put a new ground blind in, it takes them a while to get used to it, so. She is blowing, boy, she did not like it. Well, I guess it's time to go to town and get some breakfast. Oh well, that's hunting.
All right, so that morning hunt wasn't very good. I thought maybe nothing had been in there, the way that doe came in there and spooked a little bit. My phone did vibrate when I was on that tripod, and I think that may have got that doe's attention, and then she started blowing at me. But anyway, I checked my card, which was right there. I just hung that blind, put that out there yesterday midday, and put a new SD card in the camera, and Whiplash was there at 5:15 this morning. Now, I was still driving. There's a picture of me walking in at 6:20 this morning. And so I didn't bump him. It looked like the way he left, he went, back into where maybe I last tracked him and everything. So I think he's on the property there this evening. So I'm really looking forward to it. Again, we got that youth hunt tomorrow. So that's why I kind of pushed the envelope, hunted this morning. I'm glad I didn't bump him, because I wasn't far from bumping him. Either way, he's there, he's still alive, he's on the property, and hopefully tonight he comes back up there to the cedar stand where I shot him a few days ago. How odd would that be? Anyway, optimistic. You're getting to see these pictures right now. So he's in there. The wound looks like it's healing up pretty good already, so that's good. And yeah, let's get something to eat and get back in there. Let's do it.
Well, we've been in here about 2.5 hours. It's really hot. It's like 80 degrees and the wind's been howling. But we kind of did the same thing last night, and it started to die down. The wind did, and then the deer kind of started moving about 5:30. It's I think it's 4:30 now, so hopefully here in another hour they'll start coming up out of these cedars. They just bed in the shade of these cedars all over this property. It's just a giant, massive amount of cedars with a couple of draws in it. You never know where they're gonna bed, but they're always bedding in the shade of the cedar trees, especially when it's hot. They should come out from there and there. And the wind's blowing that way, but that makes it comfortable for them to come in. All right, it is the evening of October 22nd. Haven't been back out since the last hunt, but I was worried about the youth hunt killing Whiplash. And last night / this morning, he showed back up on my camera, same place, on a clearing Dad's hunting, and on a place that I shot him. He's on both cameras until almost 5 in the morning on my camera, and then he goes in a direction that I think leads him into a draw that I'm thinking he probably beds down in, and I'm hoping he's going to be staying in there all morning. It's probably going to keep him safe. Today's the last day of the youth rifle. I think he's going to survive that if he doesn't walk by me or Dad this evening, and we properly place an arrow. What do you think, Dad?
It could happen.
It could happen, yeah. He's really the only one out here that we are after, but seeing the genetics that have shown up on our cameras, definitely a good chance of another big buck showing up too. So we're always open to the surprise buck coming by. And it's 3 o'clock, a little bit later than normal. But let's get out there and get back in the cedar stand, and Dad's hunting a ground blind. So
yep, I'm ready. Maybe the Lord will bless us.
Maybe the Lord will bless us. Let's go hunt. Alright, so I'm out here where I shot Whiplash, and it's really windy, it's warm today. I got my Toyota Championship coming up in a couple days. I ain't gonna be able to get back out here, and I wanted to figure out a way to try to get him on camera more, draw him in some more. Did a little research, found this stuff called Megalo. It's a loose mineral attractant, but apparently there was a lot of work that went into figuring out how it attracts those deer and brings them in. And they've got like a copyright or something, proprietorship on the recipe. But it's supposed to bring them in, draw them in, keep them in. And it's loaded with like crude protein, crude fat, fiber, calcium, phosphorus, stuff to help their digestive enzymes and stuff. So I'm hoping this bag of Megalo is going to be the ticket. I'll just have to see right here. You can see I've got my camera right here. This is the one that's closest to my stand that I shot him in. So I'm gonna put this out and hopefully go do well in the Toyota Championship and look at pictures of this deer licking this Megalo deer feed. But let's see if it works. All right, so it is the opening day of muzzleloader, and I'm supposed to be at Table Rock practicing for the Toyota Championship, but things happened, had to stay here, sell my old truck, getting some baits made, whatever. Rain is horrible. The rain's coming here too. It's going to be cold.
And deer hunting is just as important as bass fishing sometimes.
100%. And spending time with Dad. We're still chasing Whiplash. Wanted to shoot him with a bow, but definitely not opposed to poking a hole in him with a smoke pole. And it's opening day muzzleloader with a cold snap, rain coming in. Got some new bucks on camera, but got that Megalo deer feed out there, and it's been bringing him in for sure. He is liking it, licking his nose and stuff. He likes the taste of it. We just got to give him daylight. We have no daylight pics of him since I shot him.
No.
So today could be the day. He's going to make a mistake sometime between now and the next 7 days. It's October 28th, I think. So anyway, me and Dad are going to get out there. I think Dad has the best chance of getting him, because he's hunting the edge of where I think he's at. So if he stays low, Dad ain't gonna be able to see him. Maybe he'll come to me. But if he gets up high, Dad's probably gonna pull the trigger on him.
Oh, I'll pull the trigger.
Okay, well, let's go hunting.
Action here this morning, as suspected. Gonna creep out of here before it starts raining. Go get some lunch, maybe take a nap, and get back out of here as soon as the rain stops. Should have an hour or two of good light. Maybe they'll get up on their feet and move. Make a mistake, but this is my last hunt before I got to go to Table Rock and fish the championship. So, go get some grub, take a nap. I'm tired.
Hey, what you doing over there?
Ooh.
You.
Waiting to see if it's gonna be a wet walker or not.
Pull open your weather app. So Dad and I, we had our lunch. We tried to take a nap. We're listening to OU. They're trying to lose to Kansas and lose their undefeated record for the season. So we're listening to that. Rain's been coming and going, but there's one little swath left, and it is... Let me see your phone. I'll show you what it looks like. It's right.
Put it on the bottom.
So that's us. The little piece to the southwest below us is coming at us. And if I hit it in play mode, you can see that's already been through us right there. It's just about to clip us and go by. And it's 3 o'clock. So we're waiting to see what that looks like. And then we're heading in. So pretty excited about the rain being done at a little after 3. I was afraid it was going to go till 5. But we know Whiplash
is right over there.
Yeah, he's in there somewhere.
He is in there.
So is another
somewhere.
9 point.
Yeah, there's a new buck showed up last night at a 9 point. At least a 4-year-old, probably a 4-year-old. I bet Dad would pop him.
I'd pop him.
Dad would pop him, but that's not who we're after. It's not number one.
No.
So anyway, let's finish listening to the OU win or lose, and then let's go ahead.
Lucky there that someone seemed sideways into a shuffle and let everyone else clean it up. These
Okay, we made it in. Moisture everywhere. Everything's really wet. Dump a barrel. I got electrician's tape over it so water doesn't get down to the black powder. I'm feeling good about this. These deer should get up. They should start moving. Let's see.
Alright, so it is November 5th, and I just got back from the Table Rock Championship, the Toy Series Championship, and of course while I'm gone, Whiplash shows up on my camera at the tournament meeting, broad daylight, 11:30 in the morning. That's what they do. They know when you're not there and then they come. First time he's really been daylight since we had the bad shot on him. But been around, he was there again last night just after dark, and it is the last day of muzzleloader here in Oklahoma. Dad's still in Branson hanging out with my little sister, but it is time change has happened. So it is 10:12, feels like lunch, just ate breakfast, but it was lunch. 10:12 in the morning, so it's gonna get dark by like 5:30. Anyway, headed out there now. Gonna doctor it up, put some more Megalo deer feed down. They seem to really like that attractant, with some corn, and keep getting him on camera, and maybe I'll get lucky tonight and he'll step out and I can pick him off with a smoke pole. But the chase for Whiplash continues. Let's get out there and see what unfolds. Oh, it's 71 degrees, it's warm. I missed the cold front. I fished in 20-degree weather, and now I get to hunt in 70 and 80-degree weather in the middle of November. That's not normal and not likely to promote deer movement. But let's go hunting.
Well, it's hot, but at least the wind's blowing a little bit. It's nice because I'm sitting here in the shade of this tree. The sun is right here out of the south, and it kind of stays in the southern hemisphere, and it keeps me in the shade. But so far, just a bunch of crows and bees. The bees and the wasp are like after me today. I'm not a fan when the bees and the wasp want to land on me. The sun comes back out after a cold snap, and it just wakes them up.
All right, guys, I am headed back from Ohio, but even more excited, heading back to Oklahoma and Whiplash, the buck I've been chasing all season, the buck I shot in the neck due to a cedar limb nicking my arrow in the flight of it. I heard a gunshot the very last night of muzzleloader, and I hadn't seen him since. And so that was November 5th, I think. And I didn't have a picture of him since November 4th. It is now November 13th, and no pictures. Last night, I pull into a rest area at midnight to take a break, and he shows up on camera. And I only get a couple pictures of him, but I can tell he's not doing too well. And I don't think it's due to like me shooting him and him having an infection, because he was fine on November 4th. Big, fat, healthy. I literally think the deers went on a 9-day rutting escapade without eating. He hadn't been coming to eat or nothing where I had food. I think he's rutted way, way down, or he may have got shot during that time frame by someone else, but he's still alive, and I'm hoping to get some more pictures of him. As soon as I get back to Oklahoma, need to get some more food out there for him and some more megalo to keep him happy, and hopefully I can keep him on that 70-acre chunk of woods and get him back up and going and wanting to stay in that area. I think the biggest problem with that area is the deer population is really low. There's not many does in there, so if there's none of them in heat, he ain't gonna stick around. And I think that's what he's doing. He's been going and shopping in other places. But I'm excited. The hunt for Whiplash is not over. I was starting to think he was dead, so it's not over. I'm gonna keep chasing him for the 2023 Oklahoma deer season, baby. On my way out to see my good buddy Zach in Tonkawa, Oklahoma. Pretty excited about it. Borrowed my other good buddy Eric Zeller's side-by-side. We're about to go get 1,500 pounds of corn loaded up in the bed of this tundra. And that is gonna stock me up and stock the deer up. Mix all that with my Megalo loose mineral and some protein pellets that they're coming out with that they're sending me. And hopefully I can get Whiplash really drawn into an area, even if I just keep the does around and he wants to stick around because of that. So I'm gonna build little Egyptian pyramids of corn. I'm gonna be that guy. You've seen them on social media, and you're gonna see mine also look like that. And anyway, I think I'll mix that Megalo in there. It's gonna work. So that's what I'm on my way to do today. Might even get a hunt this evening when Whiplash is, just because I'll already be out there. My other buddy, I'm so blessed with friends, Jason Clark, is gonna come out there, and he's got this cool little feeder system that I can put stuff in that's got a little roof. You can picture like a pirate's treasure chest. And then like there's holes in the bottom of it, 4 of them on the sides that come out in little rectangular holes that kind of feed the deer via gravity. He's got one of those just sitting around, and so he's gonna bring it out with him on a trailer and help me put that thing up where Whiplash is at. So next trail cam pictures are gonna have this weird green looking treasure chest thing on it, and it's gonna be a homemade deer feeder. Right, so we're here at my buddy Zach Balatz's, and we've got 1,500 pounds of corn in that thing. Got our buddy Eric Zeller's buggy, but look how much that is squatting, that Toyota. So we gotta hurry up and get a bunch of that corn out of that dude, because I don't like that at all. Later, Zach! All right, it is November 17th, the day before rifle season, and something horrible has happened, like horrible. So I just went and bought like a ton, literally, like almost 2,000 pounds of corn from my buddy Zach. Set up this entire feed station, corn feeder for my buddy Jason Clark. Borrowed my buddy Eric Zeller's buggy to do it. Put down like 900 pounds of corn.
all for Whiplash. All for Whiplash. What happens at 4:30 this morning? You want to see what happens at 4:30 this morning? Let me show you what happened at 4:30 this morning. Okay? Let me just show you something here. Okay. Do you see this? That's Whiplash. Do you see something missing? That's right. He is missing his entire right side. That was his 8-point side. He was an 8x6. The whole thing, he broke it off. It's gone. I mean, there was over 80 inches of horn on his right side. My best predictions. And it's gone. So, now all I've got is 900 pounds of corn on the ground on a small piece of property that has had no mature bucks on camera. However, something had the courage and the strength to bow up to a 170 to 185 class buck, break his horn off, and I'm thinking that's probably going to end his fighting career. I doubt he's going to keep trying to fight. The first time he does, he's going to realize it's a bad idea. And so I'm just going to remain hopeful that whoever whooped him, I don't even know if he whooped him, but once he breaks his horn, even if he whooped him, he might have broke his horn rolling him over. He's done. He's no longer going to be the dominant buck in that area. So I don't have any other big mature bucks on that property. Going to leave the cameras out and run, but we are going to focus on the other property that I have, and that's going to be the Leaning 9. So big mature deer. He's actually older. There's no doubt he's actually older than Whiplash. He's probably the oldest buck. Well, hands down, he's the oldest buck I got on camera. And literally, this is him this morning in front of my tree stand. And it's 6:30. It's still dark. But that's him this morning. All over the megalo. All over the megalo. So, he's a good one. Yeah, look at that dude. He's for real. So this was our target 2 buck. I was gonna try to get Whiplash down. I'm gonna hunt him hard, and then this was gonna be number 2. Rifle season starts tomorrow. Hopefully that means no one shoots Whiplash, because he's half a rack. I don't suspect to have that property again next year. It's not likely. But on the off chance that it is there and I can hunt it, maybe this is one of those blessings in disguise, because Whiplash, I promise you, is not as big as he can be. He needs to grow another year. I just wasn't going to let him. He might be 200 inches next year, so this could be like some crazy blessing in disguise. But we're going to head after the Leaning now. And I'm not afraid to shoot him with my 270. And either is my dad. So this guy, he is #1 hit list for my dad and I. We're going to go spend a lot of time in the woods over the course of the next few weeks, and hopefully we get that guy down, and then hopefully some bigger bucks show up and we can create another new hit list. But that's the bad news. This is our new plan of attack, so let's get after him.